Go!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Top Cut. I am Josue Crim, and with me are Michael Kramawat. No, actually, I apologize. It's not. It's the Great White Hope, Ben Potter, Kyle Sukovich,
Don't know how
and
you confuse those two. They don't look anything alike.
I was about to say Michael Kramawat, and
Sup,
then I see in the
son?
middle of my screen
Sup, son?
the greatest, whitest hope of them all. So I'm sure that you guys have all gotten acquainted with the Great White Hope by now. He's a very loyal friend of ours, and he always pretty much comes in and replaces one of us when one of us goes MIA. So welcome to the show, Ben. Thanks for coming,
Thanks
especially
for
on
having
such
me.
notice. All right, so this week we've got a lot of things that have been happening lately. We did take a week off last week, and we apologize for that. But we're going to be
Even if,
covering all of the new stuff that's been going on with Battle Roads and regionals. Big news happening there. And then finally, we have some news with the Top Cut Invitational, and obviously, we'll be talking a little bit about Worlds as well. So before we begin, go ahead and ask us the viewer questions that you guys would like us to answer, and we will answer them at the end of the show. Please ask them on our Facebook page. So either way, welcome back, guys, and let's talk about Battle Roads first, I guess. Battle Roads seems to be the big one happening right now. And what they're saying is they're going to completely do away with all Swiss round or with all top cut rounds in it, and they're going to do away with all top cut rounds in it. And they're going to make it a Swiss only event. Which I mean, obviously at that point, rumors started flying everywhere. People were saying, "Oh, best 2 out of 3 Swiss only." People were saying, "Oh, it's not going to have anything to do with championship points, everything." So I guess we'll start with the Great White Hope himself. And what do you think is going to be happening with Battle Roads? And do you even think that this is, or how big a news do you think this is to the Pokemon community?
I do think it's big news, just because I think it'll be a lot harder for people to get points from Battle Roads. Because I do still think it's going to be just single, one game per round, and then you just play how many ever rounds, and then I think that'll just be how it works.
Okay. Now, do you think that it's going to beat best 2 out of 3 or any of the other rumors that have been going on?
No, no, I don't think so. That's what I just said, dummy.
All right, you caught me. We're starting early tonight.
Just
All right,
not even
Kyle.
paying attention to what I said.
that's how it works, man.
Could have been talking about dinosaurs.
I'm gonna do that one of these times.
I saw that on a show right earlier. Somebody was just like blabbing away, and the guy wasn't hearing him. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I think I'm thinking of turning into a woman." And the guy's still like doing his own thing. You can try to pull that off on me, see if it works. Either way, Kyle, what do you think about the Battle Rose news?
Yeah, it's pretty big news. I mean, Battle Roads this season were a pretty big deal in terms of getting championship points. We've seen players. I mean, what the max finish limit was like 8, so you could get 16 championship points from Battle Roads. I saw some people get like 13 points from Battle Roads, which is a huge deal. And now they're saying, "Oh, no more top cut." So that's only part one of the information that we got. It could be more. They could just not change anything else and still have it be worth 2 championship points for winning, which would be pretty strange. But I get the feeling something else is going to change with it, whether it's going to be best 2 out of 3 for Swiss or no championship points at all. And either of those will be an interesting result. But I think it's really strange to hear, oh, there's a premier event and it's just Swiss only, especially if they don't do extra Swiss rounds. It basically just turns into a single elimination tournament where one loss and you're out. So I don't know how I feel about it quite yet because they haven't released the rest of the information on it. But at first glance, it's pretty shocking.
Now you seem to be one of the people who keeps pushing this best 2 out of 3 issue. Excuse me. Is there a reason for this? Is there like actual information that you guys are basing this off of? Because I hear a lot of the best 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3, but I don't actually understand why anybody would actually consider making it a best 2 out of 3 Swiss. It seems kind of I don't want to say silly because that's not the word I'm looking for, but it seems kind of weird. So is there a reason for this? Is there like an actual logic behind it, or is this just like wishful thinking?
I think it's more wishful thinking, but why else are they making this change? I just have to kind of wonder. And I know in some places like Europe, they've been doing best 2 out of 3 in Swiss for a while, and a Magic, of course, does best 2 out of 3 in Swiss, I believe, as well. So it might be just something that they're trying out, and what better place to try it out than Battle Roads, which is a competitive atmosphere, but at the same time, it's not worth a whole lot. So if you're gonna try a new system like this out, why not pick Battle Roads for it?
Okay, I can definitely see that. I guess the one complaint that I would see from tournament organizers and pretty much every casual player would be that you're now like tripling the number of time that, or maybe not tripling because they wouldn't do 90-minute Swiss rounds, but they would do something like 60-minute Swiss rounds or
No,
something.
they would do like 45.
Which would be even worse. That would be terrible. But yeah, either way, they're going to be obviously increasing the time spent during these Swiss rounds, which would kind of negate the whole idea of like actually making these tournaments shorter, and instead would be making them larger. Now that's a situation that I could see happening and them having a big problem with that, because obviously the worst thing that could ever happen to TO is they're now preparing these battle roads, which happen on a weekly basis and sometimes multiple times a week. And now not only do they have to do that, but now they're saying, oh, now we have to extend our times. Oh man, forget this. So that's a problem and a flaw with that logic that I was seeing. And I don't know. I don't personally mind either way if they would do 2 out of 3, if they would take out championship points. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But I do think it seems a little bit far-fetched. And I'm glad that you mentioned the idea of best 2 out of 3, because I really wanted to get behind the thinking. I really wanted to understand the thinking behind that. Because again, it doesn't make sense to me. But I guess we'll, like you said, they haven't announced everything, and it remains to be seen, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
Well, I mean, would you rather have a Swiss tournament with just best of 1 the entire tournament, and then like if you go X and 1, you automatically lose the tournament? Would you like that as a premier event?
I would like it as long as they get, well, what I would personally prefer, and obviously I'll get into my thoughts a little bit deeper in a little bit, but what I would personally prefer is just Swiss only, no championship points given, make this an amateur only tournament, plain and simple, and let it become like a stepping stone for all of these newer players, and kind of like be the gateway tournament towards competitive play. That's what I would prefer, but that's me. But yeah, either way, thanks for mentioning that, and I do agree with you that it does remain to be seen. And if they do 2 out of 3 Swiss only best 2 out of 3, which I mean I guess it is possible, then I'd be glad to see I'd be happy to see how it happens, how it turns out, and see what kind of results they get. So it'd be cool, interesting to see. What about you, Drew? Did you have any thoughts on the best 2 out of 3 Swiss
First
only?
of
Or
all,
not only, I'm sorry, not best 2 out of 3, but Battle Roads.
woohoo! Yes. I like how Cal's giving them the benefit of the doubt that they'll take away Top Cut, but they'll give us 2 out of 3. I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think they're just trying to nerf the events. This year, they sort of became way more competitive than they ever were. I think they're trying to just get them back down to more of a casual event. Maybe take away the cuts. I think they could have just got rid of championship points if they wanted to make them casual again, but who knows. I really don't think they're adding any benefit to it. I think they're just going to take away the Top Cut, and that'll be that. So, woo!
Yeah, that seems the most logical explanation. That explains why they would only give us that news and nothing else. And I don't necessarily mind that either. I do mind that it does become more of a crapshoot when it comes to getting these valuable championship points. But again, we haven't gone the championship point distribution thing, and for all we know, I mean, they could have done away with championship points. They could have made them worth 1, and if they keep them the way it is, and I mean, so be it. It just becomes a little bit more of a crapshoot. But I don't think it's too far fetched of an idea for us to believe that that's just all they're gonna do to it. Yeah. I use that word a lot ever since Pokemon came out. So either way, is there any other thing that you guys would like to mention about Battle Roads? Because I mean, obviously we haven't really touched on it very much, but
Yeah, I want to mention the reason why I believe this came up in the first place. I don't think it's because Battle Roads were too important. That might be part of it, but I think the real reason was when we got to the end of the season, we actually saw a lot of situations where people were conceding to other people because by the end of the season, they said, oh, I don't have an invite. This guy's got a shot at an invite still. I'm just going to concede and let him win because, well, you got a shot, I don't. Which, that's perfectly fine. I mean, to concede to a friend or something like that. But some areas got to the point where like almost the entire tournament was like, all right, we're gonna help this guy win so he can get to Worlds. And if you have a situation like that ever come up, that's terrible for the game. And I think they wanted to de-emphasize Battle Roads for that reason. That it was a small enough tournament where the prizes really don't matter to people, but it still impacted championship points and it impacted people who got invites. So they just want to say, okay, we don't want this to be a part of our game anymore. So maybe they're going to take away the championship points and they're taking away top cut from Battle Roads, and maybe that's a reason why they made this change.
Um, yeah, I would. If that's the reason, then I would definitely like to see them announce that they're not going to have championship points anymore. Not necessarily immediately, but soon. I would like them to announce that because I think that that's definitely a step up for the game. And that's what I wanted to mention personally was that I don't think that Battle Road should be worth any championship points. I've never thought this. And I figured that if they wanted to make them worth anything, make them worth 1 and have them cap at like 5 or something like that. Negligible enough so that people don't actually care, but important enough so that if you're on the bubble, you can actually go to these battle roads and see what you can do there. But absolutely, I hate the travesty that's been happening with Pokemon in general, with the whole concession dilemma. I've always thought that conceding to a friend is perfectly acceptable. I always believe that, but I do believe that there's a limit, and I do believe that people have crossed that limit. At least from what I've heard, I haven't actually personally seen it, but I do believe that people have crossed that limit, and that's not fair. That's disrespectful to the game and disrespectful to the players who were neck and neck with you. So I definitely don't agree with the way that battle roads have been handled recently, and I did want to see a change. And I think that the change is for the better. I would like to see them completely do away with championship points because, again, I believe that Pokemon should have an entry-level tournament. I don't think leagues are enough. I think that everybody, like for example, again, Magic the Gathering has Friday Night Magic. These are weekly tournaments that you have that they're really not worth anything for competitive players, for professional players, but they're an entryway for you to be able to get prepared for for your qualifiers, for your Grand Prix, for whatever, and they help you get prepared. That's all they're there for. So that's what Battle Road should be. Battle Road should be specifically play these tournaments, get better at the game, see a little bit of competition, see how you like to compete against other players, and see how maybe you might get a victory cup card or whatever, and maybe that'll influence you into becoming a more legitimate competitor. But that's all it should be, and it should never be Jason Klaczynski, Kyle Sukovic, anybody, all these guys playing every battle roads they can actually attend, just trying to get their trying to get to their World Championship invite. That doesn't make sense for battle roads, and I've always disagreed with the way that they handles it, and I do think it's a step in the right direction, and I hope that they take it one step further. So that's my personal opinion on this, and let's see what happens. It's like we've all said, it remains to be seen. They haven't given us every announcement yet. They've just given us a little bit to work off of. So there we go.
Ben, Drew, got anything to add on?
No. I think we all beat the horse. So next.
All right.
Woo!
I like that it would be good if there's no points for battle roads, because they're all very far away from me.
You're telling me
Good logic.
battle roads are as far away from me as cities are. So
And best 2 out of 3 gives me a better chance to win, at least in my opinion. So I'm all for that too.
Anything that benefits you personally, you are in favor
Yeah,
of.
they should give Worlds invites to states winners. Yeah, I love it.
All people with the last name Potter may now qualify for Worlds. You go, yes, best rule ever. All right, so the next topic that we're going to be covering is the 3 regionals. That's the other big news that happened around the same time that the Battle Roads news happened, and that is we are now going to have 3 regional championships throughout the year. I believe we're still going to have the same exact amount of regionals. They're just going to be spread out further. So last year they made it, 2 different dates. This year they're one-upping that, and they're making it 3 different dates. Obviously, at first you start thinking, oh, more tournaments I can attend. Then the deeper you get into the thought, you might actually start thinking about travel costs. You might actually start thinking about, hey, man, if I'm actually going to be competitive here, I'm going to have to fly to these tournaments. All these different thoughts come to your mind. So now that we've had about a week to actually let it sink in, is there anything that you guys want to mention? And I'll start with Drew here. Is there anything that you want to mention about regionals? Is there anything that might have that's going through your mind now that you've had regionals time to sink in?
For me personally, it might be a good thing because I had almost no chance to qualify this year. I had to work that busy season through about the middle of January through middle of April, and I missed all those states and regionals. So if it's right at the beginning of January, it might benefit me. Another tournament I could actually go to. But for everyone else, I think it's a bad thing. I think we see, like, especially in the younger age groups, like the juniors and seniors, there's a lot of complaining about having to attend so many events because those age groups are a lot more competitive than masters. Maybe you gotta get to like 70, 80 championship points to even contend. So a lot of parents are starting to revolt right now. They don't want to keep going to these tournaments. I think someone did a count. It was like 20 something weekends out of the year that they had to go to an event, and even the kids weren't liking that. So I don't really know what they're doing, spreading out events this much, and I'm not a big
Okay.
fan. So, woo!
But it does help you out personally. So,
Personally,
so you're not in the bed school, you know, train of thought where it's like, hey, it helps me out. I'm all
no,
for it.
no. I'm for the greater good, man. I'm like Spider-Man or something.
What about you, Kyle? What do you think?
It's kind of weird. I mean, regionals used to be. I mean, it used to be right after states, right? I mean, it was a once a year thing. It was bigger than states. It was a big event, and that's just kind of the way it was forever. And now they're saying we're gonna give you regionals after what, battle roads in the fall, after cities, and then after states. So the strange thing to me is that they didn't actually add any regionals. They just split them up into 3 weekends instead. And they also split them into three different, it's going to be three different formats when they all happen, which is interesting to me because you have to play with the first Battle Road format, and the Cities format, and then the States format. So it's three different shots for you to win a regional in three different formats, which is kind of interesting. But I think the main complaint people have is just now I got to travel to three regionals, and there's been a lot of complaints from people. I know Ross Cawthon especially was an advocate for not splitting up these regionals and for getting rid of battle roads as competitive events because people are starting to feel like this is way too much traveling just to stay competitive. If battle roads stayed the same way, then you have to travel to like 10 battle roads and then like 10 cities, and then it would be what, 3 weeks of states, 3 weeks of regionals. It's just way too much, and I can see that point of view. Personally, I don't think you have to attend all these tournaments, but maybe
Hey
you
man,
do.
not everybody's Kyle Sukovich, and not everybody can top two every regional they attend. All right, most
Hey,
of us have to struggle for our top eights. All right.
I only made top 8 of the first one, but um, I don't know. I can see the argument that now I have to go to all three of these tournaments because if I don't, I'm handicapping myself severely. It's worth way too many championship points to just miss one of those weekends. And yeah, I can see that. They're big enough events where if you miss one, you are at a disadvantage, and I can sympathize with that. But I mean, this past year I didn't attend the first week of state championships. I still ended up pretty well. I ended up with 60 championship points. So you're not completely required to go to all these events, but I can see they're worth so much that if you like, say if I didn't go to the first week of states, if I had bombed one of my 2 weeks at states, then I possibly could have missed my invite just because that 1 week of states I didn't do well. So there's a ton of pressure on these events. So on one side I can see, oh, now I have to travel more because these events are worth so much. I have to get these points. The other side of it is maybe I get more opportunities to get those points, and maybe I do have to go to them, but I might not have to. I mean, I could still go to 2 out of the 3 regionals, and it still should be enough if I do well at 2 of them. So it all depends on how much you want to travel. I don't think you are required to travel to every one of these as a master. There's just enough points for you to get if you don't go to all the events. I think the real problem is what Drew brought up with the juniors and seniors because juniors and seniors are ridiculous for championship points because there's just so few, or like the players that are really good, they all get a ton of points. Like juniors and seniors can get like 80 championship points or something ridiculous like that. I think I saw some junior had like 50 plus points and he still didn't get an invite. So I think for parents it's a legitimate concern that they split all these events up. But I don't know how big of a deal it'll be. We'll find out. My initial reaction is that it's not that big of a deal, and I'm in favor of more events in general. But I can see arguments for both sides.
Okay. Understandable. What about you, Ben? What do you think?
I'm a little conflicted. I don't really like spending money, and I don't really know. I went to like every event I could this year, and I only got 29. Maybe it's just because I suck, but I feel like I really have to go to all of them, and that's. But Pokemon is still free. It's still free to play all the tournaments. So when you compare that to like any other card game, like their costs are going to be a lot higher because it's not free. I do like more opportunities to do well though, as long as there's like obviously like the same best finish limit. Plus, I think Pokemon events, every one that I go to is just fun. I play because it's fun. I don't really play for any other reason. Of course, want to win and I try my best to win, but the game's a lot like really fun and I have fun playing in regionals. And if I get to do that more often during the year, I only see that as a good thing.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No.
All right. Well, I personally could go on honestly for hours about this. I do feel extremely strongly about it, but for the sake of everybody who actually watching the show, I'll keep it to a minimum. I personally disagree with the choice to make it three regionals and split them up, but I understand why they did it. I understand that the budget is not there to be able to make to double the size of the regionals and to like actually give everybody options to be able to travel to these a little bit more efficiently. I understand that. I understand that they're trying to give everybody more opportunities to be able to go to these events. Unfortunately, however, the way that the current system works, and again, this is the current system and not potentially a future better system. The way that the current system works, you don't have these opportunities, and what you actually have is you have this. If you honestly want to be one of these top 40 North American players that gets invited to Worlds, you have a lot of costs up ahead of you. You have, I mean, for example, and I'm a rare example because I do have to travel to even Battle Roads, let alone regionals. But for example, for me, I went to eight cities. One of them was a block of 7 tournaments during the cities marathon. I went to the first regionals. I didn't go to the second, and I went to all 3 states, and obviously I went to nationals. And that was a ton of traveling. I mean, I did three different weekends. I did 3 different weekends of traveling for states alone. I did the regionals at the beginning of the season, and I did 8 cities. I unfortunately couldn't do any battle roads because they're 8 hours away and whatever, all that, or 3 hours away and whatever. But yeah, I mean that I did a ton of traveling, and I still only had 29 play points or something like that. That's play points. That's not championship points. That's play points, and that's weekend after weekend after weekend of traveling. And I don't consider myself to be one of the hardcore grinders. I definitely don't. But there's a lot of people that actually had 50 something play points. That's a lot of weekends that they actually went to events, and to require that many tournaments, to require you to attend that many tournaments if you want to be competitive. Because the truth is, it is a requirement, unless again you're Kyle or a couple other people who happen to do extremely well at these regional level events. You're gonna have to go to all these tournaments if you want to be able to make it big, to make it to these world championships. That, I mean, obviously it's your ultimate goal, and I'm not saying to increase prize support to be able to make it more cost efficient for these players. I'm not. I understand that that's not possible. I just wish that there was something else that could be done. Maybe change the system up a little bit so that people don't have to travel to all these tournaments. So people just have choices, and maybe people decide to go to say 1 state and 3 regionals, or do away with battle roads completely and just go to a few cities and then a few states and maybe a couple of regionals. Give them those options. Make it more of an option system instead of a you must do these tournaments to be able to be competitive. If they could do something like that, then I'm all for it. But with the current system, with the current rules that they have set in place, I think adding a 3rd regional is just ridiculous, and it makes the game very, very expensive. And I'll be honest with you, if the current system is like this, then unfortunately next season's just out of the question for me. I can't possibly say I'm gonna be flying to two different regional championships. I'm gonna be flying to the national championships, and I'm gonna be taking X amount of weeks for these cities and battle roads to be able to be competitive. I just can't. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one in that situation. And I think that's unfortunate because I do think that we would like to see more people actually be able to become competitive at this game rather than make it into if you can afford it, good job, or congratulations, good luck. But otherwise, sorry. And I think that's a situation we're going to be putting ourselves in with three regionals.
Hey man,
Just, yeah.
take after your fellow Arizonian Bruce Long.
Yeah, I know. I was actually just thinking of him when I was thinking about the play points.
He's got 109 play points.
It's a lot of play points.
He's been everywhere.
109.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
He does. He's a great man and
He is.
a great ambassador for the game and everything like that. But that's a lot of traveling. That is a lot of traveling if you have to play points.
Yeah,
And I was thinking about him the entire time that I was talking about this. But yeah, I mean, I can't possibly see myself getting to an extra regional championship, let alone getting 109 play points. Jeez.
He was at the Florida Marathon. I think he's at the SoCal Marathon. I don't know if he went to Georgia too. He went to a bunch of marathons though, and he's actually, believe it or not, there's someone tied with him for play points.
What?
From the Netherlands. Both got 109 play points.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
So those are some people that are dedicated to Pokemon.
How many-
Actually that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah,
How
it
many
is.
play
I really
points?
do.
What's
How
that,
many
Ben?
play points do you get for each league?
You get 1 point for each league cycle, I think.
Yeah.
What for each league cycle?
Yeah, there's like seasons.
How many seasons a year? Like 4?
Sure.
Never mind.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible that he could get 109. It's pretty incredible that somebody else got 109. Oh my goodness. I guess
There's
they really
8
were going for
seasons,
that
sorry.
Player of the Year title. So.
There's 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Jeez. Player of the Year title, 109 points. Hey, congratulations to them. They earned it. So it'd be interesting to see how Worlds, if they actually mention them and whatnot. But that'd be cool.
Do they get anything?
Probably not. Like just maybe, hopefully, an award.
I feel like
I
you
think
should get like an award or something. You're like,
Yeah,
Hey,
I would
for
like to
a
see
nice
it get like a
little-
little,
For most play points?
yeah, because
No,
that's
they-
what the Player of the Year is, right?
It's called
Yeah, it's
player of the year. So I mean,
Sure they'll get something.
Hopefully he enjoys it.
I just wonder who they're gonna give it to. It's a tie.
I think it's right to give them to both, man.
It should, yeah.
Both of them deserve it. 109. Wow. unbelievable.
Alphabetical order. Bruce wins.
They should have like a marathon, like a 10 game event or something.
Make them play for it.
Bruce is up for the challenge, I guarantee it. So either way, yeah, that's regionals for you. And like I said, I feel really strongly about it. And if I didn't stop myself, I'd honestly still be going on about it right now, and I'd be barely warming up. So I do feel pretty strongly about this, and I just hope that they do fix it. I really do hope that they say something like, "Hey, you know what? Yes, we're getting more regionals for you guys, but here's the new point system that we have going for you guys, and as you can see, you don't have to travel all these tournaments to be able to be competitive at the game." Hopefully they do something like that. Hopefully they find a way, and this is ideal. This is wishful thinking, but hopefully they find a way to make it so that not only does going to these tournaments count, but like performance counts even more. Like I would like them to be like, hey, look, you won a regionals, you top 8'd in top 4 2 states. Hey, that's enough for a World's invite right there. You shouldn't have to be competing against all these other players at infinite cities as well. That doesn't make sense. I think personally, if you earned so many championship points off of these 3 tournaments alone, I mean that should be more than enough. But that's a completely different system. Either way, that's it for regionals. I don't want to keep talking about this. After regionals, we're going to be talking right now about the Top 10 Invitational, but I do want to take this time to remind everybody to please ask us any questions you guys might have. I don't have the link available to you guys, but Facebook's Top Cut page is where you can ask us the questions.
Facebook.com/TopCutPokemon.
Top Cut Pokemon. That's what it is. You're over here. All right. So Top Cut Invitational. About 2 weeks ago, I put my foot in my mouth one more time, and I said we weren't going to have one. And I was promptly corrected by Kyle, but not before I finished putting my foot in my mouth and saying that I didn't, think we were going to have one this year. Either way, we are going to have one. The Top Cut Invitational's actual page is already up on our website. Details who we've invited, and it details who's actually been confirmed for this. I know I don't know how to pronounce his name. Asa?
I think it's Asa.
Asa confirmed that he's going to be going, so that's the last I heard about the invitational, so that's good news. We have at least 4 confirmed right now, and I'm very excited for this. I'm really excited to see. I'm going to be on the sidelines this time, this year. I'm not going to be going to Worlds, as many of you already know, and I'm going to be sitting at home with hopefully everybody that isn't going to be going to Worlds watching this, hopefully on stream. We'll see what happens. I'm sure you guys are going to be trying to do that, and hopefully it goes through. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess since you and Drew have both are planning on doing this, is there anything that you guys would like to mention to us, the loyal viewers of the Top Cut Invitational?
Well, Drew, aren't you flying back that night? So you probably won't be there.
I'm out of there. I heard he was having the invitational at that time on Sunday. I was like, oh, I gotta go. So.
Drew's flying back Sunday night, so he won't be there. So it'll just
does
be.
Does that mean Tom's gonna be flying back that same night, or does he have a different? Okay.
Tom's going back Monday. Okay. I think. Yeah, he's going back.
Confirmed?
Yep, he just messaged me right before the show. So.
All right, awesome.
So right now we got 6 out of 8 players confirmed. We have Jason Kaczynski, of course, who's the winner last year. Don't really need to go more in depth on him. We also invited Sugiyoshi Yamato, who of course is another legend of the game, and we're waiting to hear back from the 2 Japanese players we invited. Obviously there's a little bit of a language barrier there, but we got someone to speak with them. The other one is Yuta Matsuda, who is of course the 2010 world champion, and he also made top 4 at Worlds 2006, which a lot of people don't realize. So he's made top 4 twice at Worlds, which only I think it was 5 or 6 people have done. I wrote an article on it, but I don't remember right now. But yeah, really good accomplishment. He's a fantastic player, as people saw last year when we got to record his games. And also Sammy Sakum, who took 2nd at the Top Cut Invitational last year, also widely known as one of the game's best players. And then the other people are kind of the newer people that we invited for this year's tournament, which are John Roberts is 2nd, of course, national champion for the U.S., and this will be a chance for him to show off his skills and for people to get a better look at him. Also, last year's world champion David Cohen, he is confirmed as well. So, not too many people, including us, I guess, know a whole lot about David, and we haven't gotten to see a whole lot from him. He didn't play at all this season, because why would you? You got your Worlds invite already. So, I think it'll be a good opportunity for people to get to more in-depth look at playing as well. And then you said Asa, who runs the deck out.
Kyle. Your audio's done. Kyle.
Oh.
Restart.
I'm here.
Alright. From
No,
after David.
You were mentioning Asa, and you were just
Where'd I get cut off?
Right after David. You might want to refresh your camera. You look like you're back to stage.
My video is cut out. Okay, cool.
Wonderful.
nice shot, Ben.
You're ruining my layout, man. Get back.
Sorry, man. Camera is dead. Not working. We're gonna have to roll with it.
You're
but yeah, like I said, David, that'll be a good chance for him to show people that he's the world champion for a reason. So a better chance for people to get to know him. And Asa from the deck out, he is Finland's national champion 6 times. a lot of people don't know that he made top 8 at Worlds 2008, and he was the one who put the nail in Big Chuck '01's coffin after Chuck went undefeated through the grinder and undefeated through Swiss at Worlds. So he was like 15-0 going into top 32 at Worlds, and then Asa was the one who knocked him out in top 32. And he actually knocked out your friend too, Augustine, in top 16. So he picked out some good players on his way there. And he made top 8 at Worlds that year. And apparently he's built like 2 Worlds winning decks. So he's a really creative player. Should be pretty good. I'm excited to have him there too. And like we were talking about earlier, I think Tom Dozel, who is just one of the best. So should be an interesting lineup. And I'm looking forward to it.
I like how you list everybody's accomplishments, and you're like, yeah, then Tom Dole's he's one of the best.
You don't need
no need to mention.
He's the man.
He is.
The man is the man. He is the tank. And that guy is my personal favorite, honestly, to win this tournament. I'm not going to root for him, but I do personally believe that he's the man to beat coming out of this tournament. He's just full steam ahead, man. That guy's on fire right now. So I'm personally very interested to be able to see this. I really hope that that the Top Cut us are able to stream it. And if it does happen, I can guarantee you I'm going to be sitting on my butt that entire weekend, or that entire day, just watching it happen because it seems really cool. And I do think that the mix of players that are coming in this year really meshes really well with the original 4 that we have coming back from last year. It's a great mix, and I think it's gonna be interesting to see the results.
One of the things I want to point out about Tom is a lot of people like to play up my like back-to-back top 4s or whatever, but Tom made top 8 back-to-back at nationals this year and last year in 2 of the biggest fields ever. I think that actually gets overlooked. Like people know, all right, Tom is very good. Like he made top 8 at nationals last year, top 4 at Worlds, and top 8 again at nationals this year, but I feel like people kind of undervalue his accomplishment because he didn't make it the top 4, which is kind of like the plateau for nationals. But making it the top 8 2 years in a row, that's pretty ridiculous too. And he is one scary player. I'm sure everybody is looking to avoid him at Worlds and probably at the Invitational too.
I wouldn't doubt it. But I mean, if you really think about it, it's like, well, who don't I have to avoid? Everybody's, it's like a freaking minefield right there. It's gonna be interesting. That's really, really exciting to me. I think the Top Cut Invitational, the idea behind the Top Cut Invitational is just awesome, and it's really beautiful. Now, about prize support, are we going to be hoping for donations for prize support like we did last year? Is that what's going to be going on right now?
Yeah, that's probably something I should have mentioned. We don't actually have like set prizes for this thing at this point. So if anybody wants to help us out a little bit with prize support, I mean, anything you give us for the Top Gun Invitational is going right back to the players. So if you want to donate some prizes or something to give a thanks to the players for coming to this tournament and putting on a show for you guys, we would very much appreciate it. You can email us at thetopcutpokemon@gmail.com, post on our Facebook or Twitters or whatever. Find a way to contact us if you want to donate anything. I mean, these players, they could be off celebrating or enjoying their time in Hawaii, but instead they have taken the time to play in our tournament, and we want to be able to reward them. Right now we got like a couple booster boxes maybe to spread among them, and I'm going to get a trophy too, but anything would be much appreciated. And yeah, I mean, otherwise I don't know how much we can give these guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know last year we were very fortunate to be able to have so many people that were actually willing to donate, and it became a really cool prize support, and it actually ended up being quite a big prize pool for what it actually was, and hopefully we can do something similar to that again this year because again, like I mentioned, it's a one of a kind tournament, and I'm excited to watch it personally. I'm going to be actually on the sidelines watching it this year, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So
the other thing I want to mention is that I want the focus of the tournament to be on the players. I know it's a tournament, you're gonna watch games, but I want the focus to be on the actual players themselves because I don't feel like that gets enough attention. I mean, you know who Jason Kozinski is. He is one of the best players ever. He's won Worlds twice, blah blah blah. But I think it's more interesting to get to know the guy. Like, what are his interests? What's his background? Especially someone like John Roberts II, who is a new player. He's got a great background, a great story. So I want to focus more on the people themselves, so that in the future these can be people that maybe you root for. And I think that's something that Pokemon kind of lacks. There's no real stars for Pokemon. Like, I'm sure Magic has a ton of like star players that you would root for, but Pokemon just kind of has like the great players. Or I know it used to be back when Jay Woods played it. I mean, people would root for him too, just because he was so popular on YouTube and stuff. And I think we need more people like that. So one of the focuses of the tournament, at least from my point of view, is to try to hype these players up and get the community to know who they are. So we're going to be doing interviews and just try to sit down and talk with them a little bit, so that the community can get to know these guys a lot better.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actually think that when you started talking about stars, and the truth is that a lot of these people in other card games and in other games in general, they're kind of heroes to some of these other players, to some of these viewers. Like, for example, you and myself watch StarCraft all the time. We are actual fans of the StarCraft genre, and some of these guys actually become heroes to us, and we sit there and we cheer for them when they win. We feel really terrible for them when they lose, and just seeing their heartbreak and everything. It's just, I know it sounds silly to a lot of people that don't, that don't have that type of viewership or whatever, that only watch Pokemon shows. But the truth is that a lot of us, like, we become emotionally invested in these players, and I would love to see something like that happen to the Pokemon community. And I think that a lot can be done. I think that maybe taking some time to personally interview these guys, actually have personal interviews, and not have something like hey, congratulations, you won or whatever. Just personally interview each and every one of these, or whoever we can, and just kind of get to know them as people, and get to know them as a little bit more than just like tournament champions. Would be really cool. And like I said, everything about this sounds really incredible, and I'm glad it's happening. So yeah, either way, that's the Top Gun Invitational rant, and I'm sure you guys are going to be hearing more and more about this as the Top Cut, or as the World Championships come closer. And obviously, if you guys want to follow our Top Cut site and our Facebook page, you guys are more than welcome to, and we'll update whenever we can with whatever information we can.
Ben, your top 3 favorite StarCraft 2 players, go.
Marine King Prime. Ghost King Prime.
Marine Prince.
That's it. Marine Prince.
Yourself.
How can I not be on my favorite list? Oh no, I hate that guy.
Besides yourself, pick a third person. Who's your other favorite Terran player? Apparently, you only root for those.
Dude, I don't know. Who does cool things when they're Terran?
There's Select. There's MMA.
Oh, I guess Select. Select
Anybody
was pretty cool when I first started, but I haven't seen Select hold off a 6-pool going command center first. So.
Oh my god! You guys have no idea. I was lying in bed just like watching that with my laptop on top of me. I was falling asleep, and then I see the command center first. And I'm like, oh great, here we go again. Unfortunate. And then all of a sudden you see Marine King just like start moving his SCVs, and I'm like, what is he doing? Is he just like giving up? And he starts like running towards the hatchery, and I'm sitting there just freaking out. And the longer the game goes, the more possible I think this win's actually gonna happen. And then when it actually happens, I'm lying in bed, and I'm just like jumping up and down, like, oh my god! I start tweeting about it. I was like a little kid, man. I was so excited for that. I had never seen that happen before.
He wins. He just pops his collar and just takes a drink of water.
Yep. No, he was shaking, man. He knew that he pulled off something.
I was worried at no point during that game.
What are you talking about?
Only time I think he's gonna lose is when he types GG. That's it.
Even then, you're like,
It might be a distraction.
Before we go into our little break and start answering questions, I do want to know your top 3 StarCraft players, Kyle.
Me?
Yeah.
I think my favorite is gonna be MMA for a long time, because I went to that first MLG Columbus, and I saw Drew when I was there. I went last summer, which was the first time that MLG had Korean players come over, and it was just a really cool celebration at the end when MMA won the event. The whole crowd was going nuts, and there were so many people there that there weren't enough chairs for everybody. People were like out the door, standing, trying to watch the finals. So he's always going to be my number one, I think. Also a big fan of QXC.
Yeah, I knew he was coming.
Well, I mean, I've met the guy, I've talked to him personally, so I'm a fan. And a third one, I don't know, tough to pick, but I do like DRG. He's a good guy.
Ew.
He's a good
Oh,
guy.
that's disgusting. How can you even like that guy? Ugh.
He's good, man.
Don't talk to
Oh
him.
my goodness. We all know Drew's
Are
favorite
embarrassing.
players.
Also
Squirtle,
like MC.
Squirtle.
Squirtle, yeah. He's a good one.
And Nestea. Because that's a tasty beverage.
Oh,
All the
man.
names in StarCraft are one of three things, actually. Anybody's name you find online is either a pharmaceutical company, ancient philosopher, or a Pokemon.
Brain King, man. What's he?
That's different. He's like a pro. Just take anybody you get in the ladder whatsoever.
Crims. Who's that?
Rims? That's a Pokemon.
There's no Crims, it's just Chiru.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Surumu? That's also a Pokemon.
Alright, let's move on from this.
No, let's take a little break, and we'll come back and actually answer everybody's questions. I'm sure you guys have waited long enough. So, if you guys don't mind hanging on for a couple of minutes while I go refill my beverages, we'll be right back.
Right. Oh yeah, I forgot Stefano too.
So, do I
Yeah, can't believe
uncheck the local broadcast button now? Local recording?
Yeah, if you want to split it up